All good?
All good.
Now, my name's Karen Hennessy. So I run Women in Sport WA social media account. Okay. We have an Instagram following of nearly 5,000 followers, which has steadily grown over the last year or two. I founded it because there was just a massive gap for women's sport in WA and visibility, and also that there was the grassroots sort of element is what our focus is, like grassroots minority sports and then up to elite, so really just showcasing everything and anything. We have a couple of ambassadors that we launched before Christmas. So Alana King and Chloe are two of our ambassadors that we have. And then we have Tash Rigby, Perth Glory, soccer, Anika Stevens, she plays rugby WA, Amber Merritt and Robin Lambert, so Paralympians. So and then hopefully in the coming months we'll look at getting out into schools and just being visible. Now you're pretty awesome, Beth.
I wouldn't say that. Depends whose perspective.
I've been doing my homework like last night and tonight.
Okay.
And I was like, oh my God. So you're only 28.
Only? Geez, some days I feel old. Don't worry. I feel every number of 28 sometimes.
Yeah. And you're from Victoria originally?
Yeah.
And then you moved to Queensland. When did you move to Queensland?
When I turned 10.
10. How was that as a 10-year-old?
Yeah, it was a better lifestyle change. I was living by the beach and came from a small country town in Victoria to a seaside town in Queensland where it was sunny all the time, so I wasn't unhappy about it.
Yeah. And had you started playing cricket at that stage?
Yeah, I started down in Victoria for a year or two before we moved to Queensland.
So what got you into cricket?
Don't know, I just enjoyed watching it on TV and playing in the backyard with my siblings, and then when we moved to Queensland I found out there were some girls teams you could make if you were good enough, so I made some really good friends and kept playing. And who was your main influence growing up then playing cricket? Your own person? I didn't really have one, to be honest. I just loved watching and loved playing and meeting lots of different people and going away on tours with good friends and
And were the pathways there? Oh, hold on, Beth, 2 seconds. Damn it. I don't know, I've touched something. Right. Yeah, okay, we'll come to this. That looks better actually. So when you got up to Queensland, were the pathways there for you as a young girl to sort of go up through into elite levels, or what was the system like?
Yeah, so there were it was school sport in Queensland that I started realizing that you could play in an all-girls team, because obviously where I grew up in Hervey Bay, it was a pretty small town, so it was just me and one other girl that played cricket. We had to play with the boys. So the draw card for me was to make the Hervey Bay representative team for school, and then the regional team in school sport, and then obviously the Queensland team to compete in the primary school national championships. So once I sort of done that, then Queensland Cricket had identified me as a player of potential in the future, and then I got involved in like the Queensland underage cricket teams, so under 15s, under 17s and stuff like that. So I was pretty lucky to be exposed to those teams at an early age, because if you weren't and you lived in a really remote area and probably didn't have access to the opportunity to play in those all girls teams, and I can understand why young girls my age sort of stopped playing.
And then what happened after that? So when did WBBL, when did you played with Queensland Fire first, was it?
Well, yeah, obviously WBBL's only been around for 7 years, and a little bit older than that. So
You're still younger than me.
So it's WNCL and WT20 for Queensland for probably the first I don't even know, 5 years of my career, and then obviously the T20 comp turned to WBBL. So, the pathways are a lot more accessible now for young girls, which is nice.
Yeah. And how did you end up in Perth? Could have jumped straight to that.
Yeah, they wanted me to play for them. Essentially, it was the crux of it. So I got offered a spot in their roster, and wanted to work with Shell, and obviously Christina Matthews is a bit of a big deal over there as well.
She is
being an amazing administrator. So essentially they asked me and wanted to know if I wanted to play for their team, and I jumped at it.
So when did you arrive in Perth?
I don't live in Perth. I just play for the Perth and in the Big Bash.
So you play Queensland sort of state, and then Scorchers. Yeah. But okay, Perth or Queensland?
Well, I haven't spent much time in Perth, to be fair, but I do love Queensland. Brisbane's home for me, and I got lots of friends that are pretty much family to me there. So I can't see myself being out of Brisbane too much, but I don't mind being over in Perth for the WBBL.
Yeah, so we'll adopt you. That's okay.
Yeah, well, hopefully.
I think we have adopted you. Now, first cap for Australia, first baggy green.
Well, it's a bit different for us, isn't it? We don't play too many test matches, but my first cap was back in 2016 in the T20 format, and then a few weeks later in the one-day format. But I had to wait a year and a half later in 2017 to get my baggy green. Christina Matthews actually presented me with mine, so that was pretty special.
Yeah.
But obviously we don't play too much test cricket, so generally we debut in the short format first, and then every couple of years we get to play a test, and that's a pretty special moment, seeing people get presented their baggy greens. Yeah.
So on the Instagram last night, I asked, was there any questions? And one of the questions was, what form is your favorite? So one day international, T20, or test?
It's hard to split them. I think T20 is a bit frenetic at times, isn't it? So it either works for you or it doesn't. I've been lucky enough to be okay at that format the last few years, but I do quite enjoy one day cricket and test cricket, just in terms of being able to build an innings and spend a bit more time out there in the middle with the bat. So T20 cricket's over very quickly, but it can be a lot of fun, whereas one day cricket and test cricket, I think it's a true test of your skill set and your understanding of the game, just because it goes for a lot longer.
So the World Cup coming up now at this weekend, starting on Friday, is it? That's one day internationals.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how are you looking for that? You're sitting top
hopefully good.
At the moment. Yeah.
Hopefully good. It's too late now if I'm not looking good for it, isn't it? No, we start the first game of the tournament's on Friday, but we don't start till Saturday afternoon. But just looking forward to it. I think we've been talking about this World Cup for a long time, this group, and obviously we've been on tour for a few weeks now as well, coming straight from the Ashes. So we're just ready to get stuck into it and hopefully win a few games early in the tournament. Yeah.
So how many World Cups have you played in then, if there's one day 20s?
I ran drinks at one in 2014, sorry.
Yeah.
And then I've played in three, so 2016, 2018 and 2020 with the T20 World Cups, and then played in the last one day World Cup as well. So I played in a few here and there. We've lost a couple and won a couple in that time, which has been nice. But this is the big one, the one that we've been aiming for a while.
Yeah. So the one in 2020, the T20, that must have been something special. I watched a documentary on it recently. That was pretty good. No,
it was good. It was stressful. It was a stressful 3 or 4 weeks for us, but it was amazing to play on home soil and obviously get the crowd that we did at the final at the MCG and the result that we all wanted to. So, it's no mean feat playing on home soil in a World Cup. There's a lot of pressure and expectation on you, and I'm sure New Zealand are probably feeling that a little bit at the moment with this World Cup being in their home. But I think our group embraced that pressure and expectation beautifully, and it probably showed in the way we played in some pretty tight moments across the tournament.
Yeah, because in the documentary, that's what came across, Beth, that it was just that there was so much pressure on you as a group to perform, you know, going into every game. And then at the start, when you weren't performing the way you wanted to perform or should have been, that, you know, it just was exasperated, you know. And then you came through at the end.
Yeah, I think
fashion.
I think you know, the expectation we had on ourselves was probably a lot higher than what everyone else had on us, obviously, because we're competitive people, and as athletes we're pretty naturally driven like that. But I guess there was an added element of pressure to make the final because they were going for the world record crowd. And we sort of knew that if they were to get close to achieving that goal, then we probably needed to be in the final, because as we know, Australians love to get behind their teams in sport and support things like that. So there was a couple of different layers to it, but thankfully, given how much expectation there was for us to be in the final, it was a bit of a sigh of relief when we did make it. So it turned out that game ended up being our best one, just because we could all relax and just enjoy what was in front of us, rather than feeling like there was an expectation to win, because we'd already sort of achieved the toughest part, and that was making it to that final.
Like getting there, yeah. And it was one you did quite well in that game.
So yeah, so some people say, yeah.
You don't seem to gloat, Beth, at all. That's what I've heard too.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. I'm not going to say who. So you won the ICC T20 Player of the Year that year, or what year was that? And the inaugural Emerging Player in the same year. When did you win that?
Oh God, you're the one that's been doing the research, not me.
I know, I forgot to write down what year it was. But you were top scorer in the 2020 T20.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. See, got it. And you were top scorer in the final as well?
Yeah. I think so.
And player of the tournament.
Yeah.
How did I get to interview you? Lucy did a good job.
Yeah, Lucy does do a good job, actually, to be fair.
Yeah. So what was your personal highlight out of your career so far?
There's been a number of things. Obviously, Perth Scorchers, we won the WBBL title this year, which, you know, looking in from the outside a few times when Perth have made the final and obviously stumbled at the last hurdle, I can understand is very disappointing. So to be part of the first ever Perth WBBL team to win that title was pretty special. And obviously, that, you know, when you switch teams, there's an element of anxiety around whether you can maintain the same level of performance for a different team as you do the one that you're comfortable with and have been playing in the whole time. So to be able to consistently perform for a team like Perth, who I feel like value me and value what I have to offer, probably made the last couple of years even more special for me in WBBL, giving back a little bit to an organisation and a team that showed that they really wanted me to play for them. And you know, obviously working pretty closely with Christina Matthews and Kate Harvey and Shelley Nitschke just shows that the output from me will be a lot higher if it's with good people and a good organisation. So that's been pretty special, as well as obviously the T20 World Cup on home soil. I think hopefully I've still got a few more years in me to create some more special moments, but we'll see.
So you're a wicket keeper as well. When did you start doing wicket keeping? Did you always do that, or was it about recent years?
No, probably since I was about 10 I started wicket keeping.
Yeah. And what made you do wicket keeping?
Well,
your face.
in the Hervey Bay all girls team we had going to a regional trial, I was the girl that could catch the best, so the coach was like, why don't we stick some gloves on her and see how she goes. And I just sort of started keeping from there on in. Didn't really look back. I've been running around the field a bit in the Australian team, which is nice as well, but certainly won't be picking up the ball to start bowling anytime soon, let me tell you.
Alana might give you a few tips.
I don't know how she does that, actually.
Yeah. So what would it be? Fielding or wicket keeping would be your favourite position?
I love wicket keeping. I think I love being a part of the game, every ball, and trying to have an impact that way. But equally, I do enjoy my time out in the field in the Australian team as well.
Okay, great. Now I have these few questions. We're just going to do two more things. I'm going to do a few questions, and then I'm going to do a fast five that I haven't done yet, which I'm just going to shoot my own fast five question at you, and you have to answer them straight away. You can't.
Okay.
I think we've asked two of them already. Hold on. So little Libby, I don't know if you know Libby Woods. She wants to know, Beth Mooney, how did you get so beautiful?
Oh, God. That's not the feedback I was getting about my haircut that got done yesterday. Don't worry.
That's what she wants to do. I think Libby is 5. And her brother, Mitch, wants to know, how did you become a wicket keeper? So we've
I've answered that. Just be the best catcher in your team, and someone will stick some gloves on you, which means it doesn't hurt as much as not wearing them.
Yeah. Now I have another one from young Abby, and I think Abby plays Wanneroo. Hold on, I just have to jump over because that came through Facebook. Okay, there it is. Hold on. Abby, how did you deal with the nerves when you were playing in matches against much older girls and boys? It's a good question.
Yeah, that was a great question. I probably didn't deal that well with them when I was younger, to be fair. I think, when you're young and you probably haven't played a lot of cricket and experienced a lot of situations and circumstances within the game, your nerves can obviously take over, and nerves are a good thing as long as you know how to manage them and control them. And it's taken me a long time to get to the place I am now. But the best advice someone ever gave me when I used to voice that I was feeling a bit nervous was that the bowler at the other end's probably feeling just as nervous as I am. So if I can hide it a bit better than they do, then I might get a little bit of an easier ball to hit earlier in my inning. And everyone else on the field is just as nervous. So if you can sort of flip the thinking around to manage it that way and realize that everyone's feeling the same things that you are, and they're not completely new to anyone else. So that was probably the best advice I got about that.
Yeah, that's great, Beth. That's really good. Oh, she's 2 questions.
Okay.
Okay, this is interesting. We're sorry, I just had to check it. So, as a more reserved personality, how do you manage wicket keeping when the traditional expected wicket keeper is loud and chatty?
I think there's always going to be an expectation. If you're a fast bowler, you're going to be an angry fast bowler, or if you're a wicket keeper, you're going to be the one that sledges everyone. But I always like to think that I let the skills do the talking a little bit more than trying to get stuck into people. That doesn't mean that I don't try and be loud and bubbly when I'm out in the field. And sometimes it can look different as well. Like you might have a lot more movement on the field and be running around high-fiving everyone. It doesn't always have to be with noise. It can be with your actions as well. So it is hard, I guess, if you're not naturally a loud person, but there's also other ways to show that you're engaged and trying to make an impact and a positive impact out in the field as well.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I'm sure Abby will appreciate that, definitely. My fast five.
Okay.
Right? It's the first time I've done this, right? So we're just going to shoot, and then you have to answer the first thing that comes into your head.
Okay.
Hopefully it's good. They're not too bad. Okay.
Okay.
What sport would you play if you didn't play cricket?
AFL.
Yeah.
I'd love to buff people off the ball. I think there's so many cool things that happen off the ball, and in cricket you sort of just follow the ball wherever it goes. Yeah. But in AFL you've got to protect your teammates the whole way across the field, and I think I'd enjoy that.
Who would you play for?
Brisbane Lions. I'm a Brisbane Lions girl. Yeah.
Oh, Courtney Hodder is my favourite athlete. You know, Courtney. I love Courtney. Okay, what's your superpower?
Dog whispering?
Oh.
No, I don't know.
This leads into the next question. Cats or dogs?
Yeah. Dogs.
Dogs. You have a dog?
Yeah, I've got a dog. Yeah.
Who is your fangirl? Who would you fangirl over most?
Oh, I think Roger Federer.
Oh wow. Yeah.
He's pretty elite. Roger's an athlete, just a beautiful human as well. Yeah, I would absolutely fangirl over him, I think.
Yeah. And last but not least, so I asked you this already, WA or Queensland?
Brisbane. I would say Brisbane as a town, but WA as a state.
As a state. Oh, that's a really good answer.
Yeah.
All right, we leave it there because I know you're super busy, and you've got this, massive tournament coming on Friday. Wish everyone good luck from everybody in WA. I was at your final in Optus. It was pretty special. Yeah, I was there. It was good. With my daughter and a friend of ours, so it was our first women's cricket game, so it was
that's a good way to start.
It was it's going to be tough going on from there, so we'll keep watching you and we'll keep tracking you on social medias, and just good luck and thank you so much for the interview today. I know it mightn't have been top quality cricket knowledge.
No, this is great. Thanks, Karen. Thanks so much for having me.
No, thank you. Okay, bye.
Right.
Bye.
Bye.